Welcome to the Rundown Podcast, hosted by Don Costante, a nationally recognized event presentation expert with over 30 years of experience and author of Beyond the Scoreboard. This podcast takes you behind the scenes with industry leaders to unpack the insights, strategies, and creative tactics that drive unforgettable live experiences. Let's get started.
Some of the most memorable moments at a sporting event aren't defined solely by what happens on the playing surface. They're created through sights, sounds, and atmosphere that bring an entire venue to life. Music is one of the most powerful tools in sports event presentation. When used intentionally, the right song at the right time can build anticipation, create energy, elevate emotion, and turn an ordinary moment into one fans remember long after the game is over. My guest today is Joe Green. Joe serves as DJ and music director for Foley Entertainment Group, where he oversees the in-game music experience for the NHL's Vegas Golden Knights, the AHL's Henderson Silver Knights, and the WNBA's Las Vegas Aces. Throughout his career, he's also provided music for some of the biggest events in sports, including Formula One, the NHL All-Star Game, the NFL Pro Bowl games, NCAA March Madness, and the WNBA All-Star Game, while also consulting with organizations such as Oklahoma Athletics and the Charlotte Hornets. In this episode, Joe shares his career journey, his philosophy on the role music plays in sports event presentation, and how he prepares for every event. We also talk about how he builds playlists, organizes his music library, the technology and software he relies on, what separates a good sports DJ from one that's great, and his advice for the next generation of music directors. I'm ready to get started. Let's meet Joe Green. Hi, Joe. Welcome to the Rundown.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Now, Joe, you have had an incredible career. Let's start right at the beginning. Tell us about your career journey and how you found your way into sports and eventually into your current role with Foley Entertainment Group.
My career started kind of like right out of high school, where I had an interest in being a music producer. I looked up to a lot of hip hop producers who started out as DJs like Dr. Dre and Pharrell and Just Blaze. And their foundation was DJing. So I figured I'd pick that up, which took me through a lot of college events when I started at UNLV, events around town. And then I moved up into nightclubs and lounges, and then later radio and all of these nightlife things, and radio also. And then finally, we announced that we were going to have a team. So I took a chance. And after about a year of trying to get on, I finally did, which brought me into the Golden Knights and then later on the Raiders, the Aces, F1, and all these events. But the way I started was pretty much out of high school with an interest in music production and then DJing being the foundation of that.
Was there a moment when you realized that this was the career that you wanted?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in Vegas. I'm born and raised here, and we didn't have any sports teams. So looking around, I either have to pick the Cowboys or the Stars or the Blackhawks and the Bulls. And so once I found out that we were going to have a team, I knew that I wanted to be a part of that, and I wanted to bring what I could, being born here, into these organizations. And so that's when I knew I was like, I had to be a part of this in some aspect, and ideally that would be music.
Wow. And tell people, in terms of your current role now with Foley Entertainment Group, what is that?
With Foley Entertainment Group, I'm their music director as well as in-game DJ. So I oversee all of our teams, which is the Vegas Golden Knights, the Henderson Silver Knights, the Vegas Nighthawks IFL team. And we used to have an NBA G League team, the G League Ignite, which doesn't exist anymore. But I oversee all those teams, and I can't be everywhere. So that's hiring DJs and training them up so they can take on some as well.
Yeah. Now, you've worked on everything from Stanley Cup to Formula One, WrestleMania, March Madness, and even the Pro Bowl. So looking back, what's one lesson you learned early in your career that still influences how you approach your events today?
Preparation and organization, which spans across all of these sports and in DJing in general, just being well organized and prepared. Sports, it's an unpredictable environment.
Yeah.
You don't know which way the game's going to go. So preparing for any and everything and being over-prepared is one thing that I think everyone should really take into account for. There's been DJs I know who've done it longer than me, who come and see my organization and they're like, oh, wow, I wish I could have that type of organization just to be prepared. So that's definitely a major element.
I love that. Now, as prepared as you can be, mistakes are going to happen. Was there an early mistake maybe that became one of your biggest learning experiences?
Yeah, playing for hockey specifically, you can't play when the puck is in play. And so you may think that you hear a whistle and start playing music, and you cannot do that. So that's one mistake that haunted me for a while. And it happened a couple times, especially early on in my career. And so I make sure to keep an eye on the clock. That's one. It's not a big one, but it can be if it's a continued mistake. It could put your job in jeopardy or get the team fined.
Before we get too far into our conversation today, what's your philosophy on the role of music in creating a memorable experience for the fans?
Make sure you're really in tune with the versatility of the crowd, making sure that you're sending out within the environment and the culture of the sport. So, for example, hockey is a lot more rock and roll driven,
Yep.
but that could span generations. So, making sure that you're hitting everything that you can while still playing to the game. So I want the guy who's 80 to have fun, but I also want to make sure we're playing offense and defense. I want the guy who's 20 to have fun. We still got to play to the game. So that's definitely philosophy, versatility.
Versatility. Love that. So you talked a little bit earlier about preparation. So let's walk through your preparation process. From the time you find out that you're going to be working on an event until the moment the doors open, what does that process look like for you? And who are you collaborating with along the way? And what information do you need from the event or game director, the talent, or the production team to put you in the best position to be successful?
Man, okay. So
Loaded, right?
yeah, I want to make sure I touch on all of these. Preparation wise, today's Friday. So if we have a game on Sunday, but there's no game today, Friday, I'll spend today getting ready for the game Sunday and Tuesday. And so that could be changing things up, making sure everything still sounds fresh, getting our performance tracks together. So I'm tracking down and getting in touch with our producers and directors to see if there's a halftime performance, I need those tracks.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a pregame performance, I need those tracks. Do I need to edit these down? What games are we playing? So I need the run of show from them.
Yep.
I'm very particular about being prepared ahead of time. I don't want to get the run of show at the game and then prepare. I want to be prepared and get it in paper form at the game. So getting those things from our higher ups or producers or directors or whoever, and making sure that I'm crossing T's and dotting I's. That way I'm in a great spot. By the time Tuesday comes, I'm like, I'm ready for the game. I was ready 2 days ago. So if there's any surprises, I'm already ready for that.
I know there's a lot of teams out there using show flow, having to go through a monitor. You had made a specific comment about receiving the run of show in paper form. Is there a specific reason?
Absolutely. In hockey and basketball and football, a lot of the times, I'm using two laptops. So one could be, for example, basketball offense and defense, and the other is the show.
Right.
So I don't want to have to pull up extra stuff. I'd rather just have it in paper. I'm reaching for it. I'm already on the page that I need instead of closing out of my program and then pulling up the show flow on the same laptop. And then something could happen and I'm opening up these apps again versus just having everything already there.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense. More accessible.
No, absolutely. And as you get that run of show and you talked about communication, collaboration with the game director, how about talent? Are you meeting with the host, talking about maybe some of the activations that they're going to be doing and maybe they need specific music? Do you have those type of conversations leading up as well?
No, collaboration wise, there's not really a lot of conversation. I'm really blessed that all of the teams I work for the most part, except for basketball, they kind of just give me the information and they're like, do what you're going to do with it. If I have questions, absolutely, they're very open and we'll discuss like, hey, I'm not really sure what you're looking for in this moment. And then we'll discuss that, but it's kind of rare. I'll spend as much time as needed to iron out what I think these moments should sound like.
Gotcha.
And then the host usually trusts my vision, so we don't have a discussion. Either they'll come and be like, that was great, or they'll say nothing and we move on.
Well, that's based on your experience, of course. They're allowing you that latitude. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, in your opinion, what can a game director do to make a DJ's job easier and help them to create a better show?
That run of show and
another loaded question.
That run of show, getting your DJ or your music coordinator the information they need in a timely fashion.
That's a big thing. Yeah.
It's huge. Like for me, especially, there's times where I'm just frustrated because I'm not getting it. And I'm like, hey, it's 9 p.m. and the game is at noon tomorrow. I need this information. So it's frustrating. So getting your person all the information they need, especially to run a show, if they're the type to iron it out beforehand, is just key. I can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah, definitely. I hear that across the board, specifically for DJs and music directors. Now, you're in a very tough situation in terms of when you're working in sports with 16, 18, 20,000 people, whatever the attendance might be. You're having to build a playlist that really connects with the audience that's made up of different generations and music preferences. How do you go about doing that?
That's a good question. It's like having that DJ background where as an open format DJ, you don't know who's going to be in the crowd the night that you're at the club. So I know what type of club it is. And this is kind of an analogy for sports also. I know what kind of club it is, but I don't know what the patrons are going to be. I don't know. Is it going to be like, is there an elderly crowd coming in tonight? Or is it just going to be a mixed bag of people? So knowing the city, especially, I know Vegas is a very transient city. So I'm going to get a little bit of everybody. And so I just try to keep that in mind. And I'm like, hey, I've been going really hard on classic rock this period. Let's get in some pop. Let's get in a little hip hop. And I'll watch the cameras too. I'll watch the Nitron or Jumbotron and see what the crowd shots look like so I can see who's in the crowd in case I haven't touched on something yet.
Sure.
And I'll be like, oh, we got a strong Latin crowd in tonight. Let's get Suavemente or something going on. And that's one key element. I'll rely on the Jumbotron to see who's there and then apply that to what I have or haven't played.
Does the opponent have any influence on your decision at all?
For sure. If we're playing when Drake and Kendrick Lamar had their issues and we play Toronto, I'm definitely playing Not Like Us.
Oh, yeah.
It's that little kind of like just attacking them with music a little bit.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things to do.
Now, you talked a little bit earlier about keeping it fresh. How do you balance playing fan favorites while you're trying to keep the show fresh throughout the season?
Finding or making remixes.
Yeah.
So things will get still. I'll try to find a Bruno Mars over Led Zeppelin track or make one or just those kind of things. I'll make a post. Hey, what's Vegas Born? What do you want to hear? And then read the replies and see in case I'm missing something, I can throw that in. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Like we haven't heard Bon Jovi in a while, even though we probably have. And getting that feedback in to try to freshen it up.
That's awesome. Are there particular genres that you kind of rely on or always go to? They seem to work among all demographics.
90s seem to hit everybody.
90s. Yeah.
Like a philosophy of mine across all sports is everything sounds good when we're winning.
Right.
If we're winning, jump around is going to hit 10 out of 10 times. Yeah. Oh my God, I haven't jumped around since last game, but we're up 7 points. So,
that is so true.
Yeah. 90s seem to always work.
So we talked about music, but where do you discover new music, the edits, the remixes? I know you create some, but where else do you go? What resources have you found especially helpful over the years?
Record pools, DJ record pools like BPM Supreme and Club Killers. There's a lot of remixes there. They post a lot of like, hey, this was released here. And then I'm on the West Coast, so every Thursday night at 9:01 p.m., I make sure to check New Music Friday on Spotify. And I'll see, because it's a mixed bag of just what's released. Just try to stay up to date. So I rely on those things a lot. DJ record pools and Spotify New Music Friday, and just kind of reading current trends on what's coming up and what's been released.
So for advice to those DJs out there that are trying to build high quality music libraries, what kind of advice you want to give them?
Don't rely on YouTube rips. A lot of people will just rip the music from YouTube and it sounds horrible. It's going to give you low quality track. It's going to sound bad and it's going to upset your sound engineer. Especially, I've seen this happen many times. You would be surprised how much the quality, just spend the 99 cents on Apple Music to buy the track or iTunes, or hit one of the record pools because it's always going to be 320 KB. It's going to be the right format and it's going to be sound quality. It's going to do you, the fans, and the audio engineer a huge favor.
Great advice.
Yeah.
For sure. I can't tell you how many audio engineers have been upset with poor quality tracks that have come in. In my book, Beyond the Scoreboard, I share a music sheet that I created when I was with the Spurs that categorizes music for every possible game situation. And you talked earlier about being organized. How do you organize your music so that you're prepared for virtually any situation that can happen during the game?
In the main program I use, we have, it's called Crates. And so you can label the crates. This is an injury. This is a penalty kill, foul out, whatever it's going to be. I'll put those specific songs that theme out that moment into these. and then put them in an order where I know my brain knows to look, hey, under this, there's going to be these.
Gotcha.
And so I just organize them out by specific situations, and then it makes it really fast to get to them. And then on the other program I use, I'll rely on hotkeys.
Oh,
If it's
sure.
something I know I need to get to really, really fast,
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, I'll hotkey it.
So one of the ideas I talk about in my book, Beyond the Scoreboard, is that every song should have a purpose. How intentional are you about selecting music that really supports what's happening on the playing surface and enhances the overall fan experience?
I'm very particular on it. There's times where it's just I'm playing music to try to build energy, but that's also one of the reasons. For hockey, if we're shooting, then I want songs about shooting. It may not be shots, LMFAO. I try to stay away from cliche stuff, but Shoot to Thrill or Heat Seeker and stuff like that.
That's great.
If we're attacking, hey man, nice shot. So I'm very particular about it. If someone's going into the penalty box, I have stuff for that. If we're in an intense moment, I'll have, even if it's just an instrumental, I'll have something for that. I'm try to be as particular as possible about playing to the moment. Even with basketball, the flow of the game, the way I have it set up is where it just gets increasingly more intimidating. Unless we're just getting smoked, then it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, are there moments when silence is actually more powerful than music? And if so, can you share a moment where that takes place?
Yeah, I actually had to learn that the hard way, because when I do our WNBA games, it's just nonstop. I do lacrosse, it's nonstop. You're playing music until the ball is not in play, and then that's occasional also. So
Right.
when I was doing NBA games for the NBA Cup, they were telling me, hey, don't play. And I was like, why wouldn't I do that? And they're like, we're just going to let the crowd take it for a couple possessions. And I was like, oh, this is new. And so my brain is so used to playing to the energy,
Right.
that they had to keep telling me, hey, Joe, we're going to sit back on this one. And so it took a couple times for me to be like, okay, all right, so I see what they're doing here. And I got that understanding. But it's definitely awesome when the crowd takes, especially if they're chanting defense and really getting into it. There's no song that can match that kind of energy. There's some that can follow up after that energy, but that crowd energy is awesome.
Sure. Knowing when to let a song fade out, let the crowd breathe is so important. Obviously, you've gained that experience and you know right when to do it, but so many people make that mistake.
Yeah.
So let's come back to software for a second. There are several game operation software programs out there and DJ platforms available today, including ClickEffects, Sound Director. You mentioned Crates, Serato DJ, Virtual DJ, and others. Can you walk us through the software you're using on game day and explain why it's the right fit for you, the way that you work?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, using Serato for the last 15 years or so, I know it like the back of my hand for the most part, unless there's a crazy update. And so I know how to organize on there, and I know how to get to things quickly. And the bulk of my music is in my personal laptop in Serato. So if I need to find something on the fly, I know that it's there and I know how to get to it. So that's my go-to. I use it for everything. So it didn't stop with sports. But when I did start with sports, they gave me a laptop with ClickEffects, and then for basketball, Sound Director.
Sure.
So that one, I know it. I know how to get around. I know how to use it. But for me, it's like a glorified hotkey. That's really all I use it for, and as a backup in case, God forbid, something crazy.
You're talking about Sound Director or ClickEffects as a glorified hotkey, right?
For ClickEffects, specifically for me for hockey, Sound Director, it's about 50-50 with Serato, and that's for basketball, because I'm running offense and defense off of it.
I got you.
Whereas hockey, I'm not relying on it for my music as much. I'm just relying on it for specific moments, goals, goal against, fights, and things like that, sound effects. So it varies, but Serato is my main one. It's just more convenient. I can add as many crates and folders as I need to. I can label them how I want and organize them. There's no limit to how many tracks can be in there versus ClickEffects. There's a limit, and there's a view limit, and there's all these limitations.
Yeah.
Serato, I can just do everything.
That's great. That's the strength of using that particular software. For someone entering into the profession today, which software platforms would you recommend they learn first, and why? Should they just go right to Serato?
If you don't know how to DJ, no.
Okay.
I wouldn't just jump at Serato, because you're going to be very confused and you're not going to know how to navigate it without prior DJ experience.
Okay.
Not to say that you couldn't. It's just if you don't know how to use it, you just don't know how to use it.
So what's the first step?
The first step, it's a tough one, because Sound Director, ClickEffects, and 7 Point all cost a decent amount of money.
They do, yeah.
So if the team that you're working for isn't giving this to you and you got to come out $1,000 and hope that it's going to work out for you, that's a risk. So, man, that's a tough question. I guess Serato would be the way.
Yeah.
Watch some videos and you can still use it without DJ equipment. It's just not as convenient or effective, but you can get a small DJ controller just to navigate the channels, like the up and down volume and left and right for left side, right side.
Mm-hmm.
That would probably be the most affordable and convenient way.
Maybe that way, and then shadow some people like yourself so that they can really learn quickly how to best utilize that software.
Yeah. Shadow or pick up some YouTube videos.
There you go.
It's not complicated. It's just, it's easier when you know how to DJ.
Yeah, no question. So beyond the software that you use on game day, what technologies or tools have had the biggest impact on the way that you prepare for and execute live events?
None of the software or hardware has really made too much of a difference in preparation.
Okay.
As far as execution, what am I using right now? The Pioneer Flex 10 is for me a game changer because with any track, you can press at the touch of a button, it becomes an instrumental or an acapella. So,
oh wow,
if I'm playing right now and they're like, hey, we're gonna do a quick PA read, I press one button, it takes all the words out. Now it's instrumental and you can talk over it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It has been such a game changer to where there's tracks where I'm like, man, I wish I had this instrumental for XYZ, and I'll just make the instrumental and now I have it.
Wow,
that has been a phenomenal addition.
Well, let me ask you about AI. How do you see AI or other emerging technologies changing your profession, being a DJ, over the next 5 years?
Honestly, I haven't really thought about it too much. I don't see how it would greatly affect what I'm doing.
Gotcha.
I'm not worried about being replaced or anything.
No.
I have had experiences with AI tracks where, like my boss has created an AI track he wants to try out for intermission, which actually went really well. People will submit AI music to be featured, but it hasn't really had a negative or positive effect on me. It's just kind of, I know that it's around and something could pop up in the future and hopefully it's convenient.
Yeah. Are you utilizing AI at all in terms of brainstorming?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Not effectively. I'll pull up ChatGPT and type in, what's a great hip hop song that works in hockey arenas? And it just gives you the most bland answers.
Gotcha. You got to be smart enough to understand that what is given you might not be the optimal information. So,
yeah,
for sure.
I've tried and it's just been unsuccessful.
Gotcha.
No.
It's
the most generic stuff possible.
Totally understand. So during a live game, I'm very interested with your experience. What separates what you would consider a good DJ from a great one?
Reading the room and knowing what to play and when, instead of I'm just playing music now. I hope you dance and I hope the team does well.
Yeah.
Knowing how to build that energy and then knowing how to take it to the next level. I've been able to watch both sides of phenomenal DJs and DJs who could use some work. That seems to be the key thing, knowing what tracks, having those tracks, and when to play them.
Yeah, so key. Do you think anticipation is more important than reaction when being a DJ?
Yeah, I would say so.
Because you're reading that room, right? You're anticipating potentially what's going to be happening. You can anticipate a 3 being made and you're on that hotkey ready for that music.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Knowing that we're on a run and that next big 3 is going to set this place off and it'll be a hot timeout, and then having that track ready for that moment. Yeah, that's a valuable moment.
You're always thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead, aren't you?
Yeah. Always. You have to.
Yeah, you have to, right? What skills do you believe simply just can't be taught?
Oh, man. What skills can't be taught with this?
In terms of being a great DJ?
That's a good question.
Do you think it's just experience?
Yeah. Experience, and it's, I don't even know how to put it into words. Just feeling the energy in the room can't be taught.
I get that.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. Knowing that, just having that feeling in the room, like, oh man, this is crazy. Like, okay. And then being able to reflect that in your craft, you can't teach that. I can tell you, hey, let's play Turn Down for What or Jump Around or whatever after a big 3 or something like that. But if it doesn't feel right and you know not to play that, because it could be just played out, or you use that last game and you're just going through the motions.
Right.
You can't really teach that.
No, you're talking about your instinct, your gut, making that decision in that split second. You can play the right genre, but it might not be the right music in that particular moment.
Yeah, you got to feel it out.
I get that. So, Joe, you had the opportunity to consult with organizations like Oklahoma Athletics and the Charlotte Hornets. Without sharing anything confidential, were there common issues or missed opportunities that you identified that maybe other organizations listening could learn from?
Yeah, one of the main ones was equipment and technology. So
Oh, yeah.
with the Hornets, they're only using Serato for the most part for their in-game, for offense, defense, show, and everything. And they had two DJs working in tandem, which is awesome.
Oh, wow.
But I could see that things could be done easier. I've never used 7-point audio, but I hear great things. Sound Director is what I had recommended because it'll speed everything up. There's a slight delay sometimes in coming in. And with Oklahoma Athletics, I was like, if you use Serato here, this could be a little more convenient. So that was the common thing I saw where maybe they don't know or don't have access to these programs. And I felt like that could help them in a major way.
That's fantastic. And for those organizations out there that maybe are having some issues in terms of equipment, Sound Director and Click Effects are really easy to understand how to use, right? I mean, Obviously there's a little bit of a cost to it, but for a step one, that might be a great step.
Yeah, I believe that those two, especially just based off my experiences, could help elevate your game production in a major way.
Absolutely.
It'll make things faster, cleaner, and they're very in your face and easy to understand and navigate.
So, Joe, what advice, with all your experience, what advice would you give a college student or young professional who dreams of becoming a sports DJ or music director?
Be persistent, be prepared. One of the things that helped me get to this point now was preparation and just getting after it. The way I got in was just chasing down members of the staff and team for 9 to 10 months. And when I finally found who to speak to,
I love that.
yeah, that's the short version. But when I finally found who to speak to, I was like, hey, I have these ideas for the warm-up mix, the goal song, the show, everything. And it was like, wow, this is a lot of information, but we see that you came prepared.
Yeah.
So no matter what position you're chasing, whatever you have to bring to the table, have it ready to present and don't take no for an answer. Just because you don't get the position that you want initially doesn't mean that you can't get there. When I got hired, I wasn't the music director. I wasn't the in-game DJ. I was doing warm-ups, doors, and popping in for whistles here and there. And then eventually I was able to move up to music director. And now I'm running everything audio basically for the most part. And I've seen it happen with our show caller who started as an intern, Vegas Golden Knights. I've seen the mascot be moved to producer. It's just be persistent and be prepared.
Oh, I love that. Do you believe that's what separates people who are actually eventually getting hired, is that they come in prepared? They're not just submitting their resume or reel, but they're coming in with ideas and understanding maybe of that particular culture or organization?
100%, I think so.
Okay.
I think that and showing your value, showing that you're bringing things to the table. And even if it's bad, you're showing that you're committed to bringing things to the table, and that chasing and trying to get in touch with who you can and just being persistent about it. Once you start talking to people and you're like, oh, this is the guy who emailed us about blank. And it's just going to show that you're really committed and want to be involved.
And what about skills that somebody should be focusing on? What skills should they focus on developing?
As a DJ, be open format, be ready to play country, rock, hip hop, EDM, blues, whatever you think it is. Have a good palette for music. I mean, that's a foundational skill right there. After that would be organization, making sure that you know how to get to these genres when you need to. But if you're going to work in sports, you're going to need to have a familiarity with different genres. It can't just be like basketball's mainly hip hop, but it's not only hip hop. Hockey's a lot of rock, but it's not only rock. So knowing how to get to the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s music and providing that for the fans.
That's great advice. Now, we have come to a part in this interview that it's time for our rapid fire questions. You ready for that, Joe?
Okay.
What I'm looking for, it could be simply a one word or just a quick answer here, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's your first one, just 5 of them. Your first question.
Okay.
Who's your go-to artist when you need to get the crowd energized?
Lil Jon. Steve Aoki.
Which one?
I'll go with Steve Aoki. He has more songs that hit different crowds.
Got it. What's one piece of technology or equipment you couldn't live without on game day?
Laptop.
What's one song that always seems to connect with fans no matter the event?
Jump Around.
If you could DJ any sporting event in the world that you haven't worked already, what would it be?
The Olympics. Any part of the Olympics.
What's the best piece of career advice you have ever received?
That's a tough one. I'm sorry. Best piece of career advice I've ever received. Oh, stay humble.
I love that. I really do. So that ends the rapid fire questions, but I do have one last question for you before we wrap this up. For those listening to today's discussion, what are your final thoughts?
If you're a college kid or not, and you're looking to have a career in sports, don't get deterred easily. Go for it. Keep going for it. Just because the door's closed doesn't mean the window isn't open. Do what you can. Display your talents, all of your talents. I've been able to DJ, to produce. I've been nominated for an Emmy and featured in Sports Illustrated based off of things that I've done in a small bedroom with a roommate.
So cool.
The opportunities are endless. I never thought I would be in a position to talk to you, Don, and your audience about these things based off me just messing around in the bedroom DJing. So don't take no for an answer, but be prepared and always be organized.
Great advice there. Joe, this has just been a fun conversation, and I really appreciate you taking the time today to share your experiences and insights. I know our listeners are going to take away a lot from this conversation. So thanks again, Joe, for being on The Rundown.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for everybody for listening, and yeah, I appreciate you.
That's a wrap on this episode of The Rundown. Have a question or want to share your thoughts? We'd love to hear from you. Just email therundown@CostanteGroup.com. Also, be sure to subscribe, share the podcast, and follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram. On behalf of Don Costante, thanks for listening. Until the next time, this is The Rundown Podcast.